Today on the workbench I've got a new project here. This is a Athearn Genesis SD90MAC. So we just did the SD70 for a gentleman. Now this is basically going to be the same install. This one we're going to put in an ESU decoder with, well, it's going to be a 21 pin ESU decoder, a NixTrainz Decoder Buddy, and 2 scale sound system speakers. So let's get right into this. We'll go ahead and we'll pull these couplers off. That's our first step. Get that out, and then there's a screw right here for the body. Get that out. And then moving forward, there's another screw into the body. And then our front coupler. So now that should lift right off. Okay, now we've got all of our, and this does have a Tsunami decoder in it, but this gentleman wants a ESU decoder, so that's what we will install. I haven't downloaded the sound file yet. I ought to start on that. But I'll get all these wires cut off of this board. And these are track pickups, and then that's the rear light, and we'll keep all the lighting functions for this too. There's our stock speakers, we'll pull them out. That cut. Got that. And that. And I've got one more there. So we have effectively cut everything out. We'll move the shell. And if I remember right, this has lighted number boards. Maybe this one doesn't. The last one did. Ditch lights. Yeah, I don't think the number boards are lit on this. That's alright. Okay. I didn't cut off the motor wires. So we'll put that back in the box, send that back. We'll get rid of our speakers here. And it's just held in with 2 screws. Of course, we've got some tape. So there's our speakers. We'll return those. And then I have to take this front weight off. To put this is going to have dual speakers in it, just like the SD70 did. So we'll get this weight out of the way. And all those wires are fed through that. We'll send that weight back. Everything I take out I always send back. So now we've got our Decoder Buddy. And this is the V5 version. I'm going to clip off these little clips that held the factory board in there. Nice set of flush cutting pliers I use for that. Now we'll just mount this with double-sided tape, and it doesn't matter how we put it on there. Probably put it up there like this. Which wire do I have? So I'm going to go ahead and, before I do anything, these 2 motor wires, trying to get over a cold, so try not to clear my throat too much here. But we'll go ahead and tin these. And then I can run them up through the holes in the bottom before I mount them to the Decoder Buddy. The other thing I've got to do is cut this little nub off before I mount the front speaker. pull the light board off. Get that out of the way. And then I think I'll do these one at a time here. Be easier for me to hold. Now I'll get some liquid flux out and put on there. So there's one side. Try to clean that tip off before I use that every time. Cut off the excess, what little there is. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and we'll mount our board here. Let me get a cotton swab out here and some alcohol, and then we'll put our double-sided tape on. Clean this off. For some reason, I have the theme song for Gunsmoke in my head. Let's see, let me peel this off. So this requires two pieces. So it's kind of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other here. You know, put those motor wires on to make it easier for that, but then it complicates putting the tape on. Oh, requires 3 pieces. It's up a little higher than what I thought it was. Yeah, that'll work. It won't affect anything. Because this is really good tape. Give it lots of cushion there. Now that movement you see is movement in the actual mount itself. So I've got plenty of room from my wires from the rear. Plenty of room, the wires from the front. Shouldn't have to lengthen anything. That should be good to go. We'll go ahead and put this rear speaker in. And it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter which way it goes. I'm going to put it up toward the front there. That way we can get our sound more toward the center. Loosen this one a little bit. Okay, there's our speaker mounted. Now we'll be able to run all of that over top. I need to cut off this nub right here so that speaker will sit flush. So I'll do that with a pair of old track cutting pliers, and then I can just file it a little bit and that'll take care of that. So I'm programming the decoder right now. These aren't the ideal pliers to do this with. This metal's soft enough that it works, but I really don't like to do it. I'm going to go ahead and cut both of them off. That's why I'm using a pair of old track cutting pliers. You can see that little nick in the blade there. but that leaves no mess. There's no metal shards or anything from filing. I mean, I can file it a little bit. I can feel that, but the double-sided tape that I use will cover that up. So I'm going to go ahead and tin this rear speaker. And the reason I'm not putting this one in, I just got it in the mail and I haven't opened the box up yet. So I'm just trying to do what I can here. So that's that. And these will be hooked up in series. So I will take, and right now, and I just threw away a couple of pieces of small black wire that I probably could have used. So I'm going to flux and tin my wire for the speakers. This is 36 gauge ESU wire. Yeah. So I've cut that one long. Now I'll cut a piece of red. If I can get it off of the roll. Cut that little bit off. Alright. So now we're back to more tinning. And that wire will run right up to the decoder buddy. So I can hook one side of the speaker up. So I like to use that little piece of aluminum plate there to put flux on. So there's one side of the speaker hooked up. This one will go over to the positive terminal of the front speaker, and then the negative wire from the front speaker will come to the board. So while we're here, we'll go ahead and start working on our track connections. And I'll cut that other one off the same length. We can hook both of those in to the Decoder Buddy. And we'd actually be ready to run this locomotive if we wanted to. And I just hook these up one at a time. No big deal. So there's that one. We'll go ahead and get this one tinned up. Seems like the rear of these is always the easiest part of these locomotives. Of course, I understand that there's not as much going on. So there's that. And then all that stuff will tuck neatly into there. And I can put some Kapton tape on that. And that'll be ready to go for the rear of this locomotive. Of course, I say that. I've got the lighting board here. That sits on top. So I'll be back here in a minute. Let's zoom in here a little bit. So I've got the front speaker here. And this thing will mount just like that. You have to keep that hole open for that, for the body to fit on there. Now for the front, just so I'll have room clearance over top, I use some double-sided carpet tape. And that'll give me more room than the regular double-sided tape. So let me get this thing cut off. Got it stuck to itself there. And I do want to clean that little area there. So there's that. And then I'll trim that up. I want to get a sharper knife. Hopefully this one's a little bit sharper than that last one. Not by much. Okay. So there's our other speaker in. Now, turn this back around and we can go ahead and wire that thing up. Let's see. We'll pull that light board off there, and I'm going to use these holes in the Decoder Buddy as wire guides. So that'll go down through, and then I can cut this wire off. Now this black wire from the speaker is going to go to the positive side of this speaker. Okay, there's that. So I think the other thing I'll do is, before I hook that top one up, I'm going to hook this bottom one up So I'll cut me a piece of wire and I'll go ahead and get it all tinned up. So there's that one. There's that. Now I can go ahead and tin the speaker. There's one. And two. So there's that one hooked up. Now, since I'm going in series, I've got the positive of this speaker. Let me pull this over a little bit. The positive of this speaker hooked to this side. So this one, I'll cut that off and hook it to this side. Hopefully I left myself enough. And I did. Get this tinned, and then we can get that connected. Nice short wire run there. Now we can hook this one. Up to that side. Okay, so there's the speakers hooked in. Now, let's go ahead and hook up our front track pickups. It's about there. And our red engineer side will be the same. Rinse, lather, repeat, or lather, rinse, repeat, however you want to say that. But we're down now to just making connections. And after we get it all on here, I'll take and put some double-sided tape on this. Or not double-sided tape, but I'll tape it down. That way it won't go anywhere. So there's our track pickups. Now we just have all of our lights to go through. So once that decoder finishes programming, I'll try this thing out. But for now, I'm going to go ahead with our light board here and connect this rear light. So the way I've got this, of course the red is the common or the positive, and it'll go right along on the either side. You can put that on. So let's go ahead and we'll get it ready. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is, you don't want to sit here and watch me solder wires to this board. After I get them done, then I can show you where they all hook to. I'll chase this one around here for a minute. Okay. Clean that off. So there's our positive wire hooked up. Now, got that double-sided tape stuck to my finger. So this one up here is the rear light. Cut that off. So yeah, we'll walk you through one here, which I've done 100 of these. Clean that off. Okay. Clean that off again. Some flux. A little bit of heat. And there is the rear done. So I'm going to go ahead and put some tape over this, and then we'll test this thing out and we'll see where we're at. Then when I come back, well, I'll show you what I'm going to do after I get this taped up and tested. Okay, I tried this out and I've pulled this light board off here for a second. And the one thing that I did that I don't like, I hooked these speakers in series, and I don't know why, but ESU decoders like parallel with two speakers better than series. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change that, which really, it's going to be really simple. It's no big deal. So, yeah, let me, all I got to do is unhook this side of this wire that runs all the way back to the positive side of this, and we'll be good to go. So, and then solder it onto the board. But anyway, so the direction is right. I've got all the lights here up front hooked up. There's still ground lights from the cab that I've got to hook up. But I'll go ahead and redo the speaker, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what I've done to the lighting board. Okay, so let me show you what I've got here. Everything is wired in. Let me zoom in if I can. Shut the camera off instead of zooming in. So, it's something to point with here. So on this board, we've got, this is the front light, and then these are all aux functions. So A3 and A5 are ground lights. This is A1. I've got that on a ditch light, A2 on a ditch light, and A4 for the number boards. And then of course all the reds are hooked to the common, and this corner up here is the reverse lights. And of course I redid the speaker. Now it's in parallel. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to test it out, and then after I test it and reprogram it, then we'll come back and it'll be up on the test stand. Okay, we've got this completed and up on the turntable. So let's kind of go through the functions real quick. Of course, we've got our headlight, our ditch lights, and our ground lights. And we've got the number boards all lit up there. Now we do have a rear headlight on it. Let's go ahead and run through the startup sequence on this. So I'm going to go ahead and lock in the drive hold, and then I'll ramp it up. I do have this set to 90%. Then we'll start ramping it back down. I didn't ramp it all the way up, but like I said, I've got it set to 90% of the volume. So let's hit the horn here. Of course, it's got the ditch lights set up to alternate when the grade crossing. But yeah, this was a fun little project, and really enjoyed this one. So that's it for this one, and thanks for watching.